Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read Reading Explore Level 3 11 Visual Pioneers. (11A) Van Gogh's World. Starry nights and sunflower, self-portraits and cafe settings, all painted in bold, intense colors. Today, people around the world immediately recognize these as the work of Vincent van Gogh, the Dutch painter. Probably no other artist at any time in any culture has achieved such a popularity. But who was this man and why, even today, do his art and life have such an ability to move us? An artist is born. Paragraph B. Vincent van Gogh was born on March 30th, 1853, in Zundert, a small village in southern Holland. As a child, he was serious and sensitive. He loved to draw, and his work showed talent. But no one encouraged him to become an artist. Instead, his father thought he should take a sensible job, something like a sales clerk or carpenter. As a young adult, he wandered from job to job with little success and very little money, becoming more depressed with each failure. In March 1880, however, just before his 27th birthday, something changed inside Van Gogh. He realized that he was meant to be a painter, and he began to study art in Brussels, receiving financial help from his brother Theo. Discovering color. In 1886, Van Gogh moved to Paris, hoping to learn more about the color techniques being used by Impressionist artists there. Instead of grays and browns, his work began to emphasize blue and red, and then yellow and orange. Soon he began to see life differently. Go slow, stop thinking, look around. You'll see something beautiful if you open yourself. These were the principles that guided his art. With his innovative color combination, Van Gogh wanted to show others how to better appreciate a flower, the night sky, or a person's face. Descent into madness. Few who lived in Van Gogh's time appreciated his work, however. Many laughed when they saw his paintings, which hurt the sensitive artist terribly. In February 1888, he moved away from Paris to Arles, a town in southern France. Often he could not eat or sleep and stayed up into the early morning hours painting. Days passed and he spoke to no one. Following an argument with fellow artist Paul Gauguin, Van Gogh took a razor and cut off his own earlobe. The Starry Night, painted in June 1889. He never explained why he injured himself, but by now, many were convinced that Van Gogh was crazy, and indeed his mental health started to decline. He began to have attacks during which he would hear strange sounds and think people were trying to hurt him. In the spring of 1889, he was sent to a mental hospital in Saint-Remy, a town near Ars. With what exactly was Van Gogh suffering from? No one knows for certain, but some now think it may have been a form of manic depression. Whatever the condition, his condition, Van Gogh's illness both inhibited and inspired his creativity. When his attacks came, he could not paint, but during his periods of calm, he was able to complete more than 100 masterpieces, including the classic The Starry Night. Working on my pictures, he wrote, is almost a necessity for my recovery. Following his release from the hospital, in 1890, Van Gogh took a room in Oise, a town just north of Paris, for the 70 days that he lived there. He produced an average of painting a day. Until his death, however, he was unable to sell a single one. Today, those paintings would be worth more than a billion US dollars. It was at this time that Van Gogh either borrowed or stole a gun. On the afternoon of July 27, 1890, he went out to the country and shot himself in the stomach. 2 days later, he died at age 37. What caused him to take his own life? His lack of financial success, mental illness, loneliness. Van Gogh's legacy. Over a century after his death, Van Gogh remains extremely popular. He is a story of a man who resisted materialism and greed, who was all alone and unappreciated, gives people something they need. We find pieces of ourselves in him. This may also explain the high prices paid for Van Gogh's work. His portrait of Dr. Getty sold in 1990 for more than $80 million to Japanese businessman, breaking the world record for the painting. Many of his other works have also sold for millions. Of course, people are buying. People are buying great art when they purchase one of Van Gogh's painting, but they are also buying a piece of his story, which, like his work, will live on forever. The end.